Okay, well, just a quick update. Just pulled it into the garage. This is my new project. It's an ex-police bike. So petrol tank. It's quite clean in there. That red stuff is not rust. That's the paint. They often paint these things. All the rubber's a bit corroded, so we'll be perished. So we'll be replacing all the rubber bits. And then here is what you don't get in the standard bikes, because it's a police one. We'll have to sort something else more permanent for that. But you don't get this on the standard ones. That's only for the police bikes. They get this little box where you put your radio and stuff. And it was for the radio because this hole here leads down to the battery. So in theory, you could have like a USB cable coming up here to charge like a GoPro charger and stuff in there. How cool is that? Like 1970 bike, and it's already got space for a USB charger to go in. So you can charge your phone in there or whatever if you didn't have it on the handlebar. Amazing, absolutely amazing. Just they forward thinking. They already thought about that, because it goes down. There's a hole comes out here, so you could, where the battery goes in, so you could just hook up the terminals here where you go. Of course, it's got a big old kickstart. I don't know if I'd be able to kickstart this thing. I guess I'll be giving it a try at some point, probably with an armoured boot on or something. It's my first bike with a shaft drive, so I've never had a shaft drive before, so I don't know. Shaft. So I don't know what this is going to be like. It's currently off the ground on the main stand. The side stand does work, but it's really weird. It's like an automatic spring thing, so I don't like it at all. We've got mix match carbs. I don't know which is the good carb and which is the bad carb. And one of these carbs is good, one of these carbs is not great, so we've got to change that round. No fuel lines, because I'm guessing it's drained. I hope it's drained. What's cool in here is this is the single seat, which was only on the police model. This is a genuine BMW seat, and it's got a keyhole here, which is already unlocked. Push this button here, the seat lifts up, and under here is where the owner's manual was. I took it out, I'm going to read it up before that noisy van came in here. Right, what else? I've got the clocks, but they're not very good, so I'll probably have to get new clocks. They work apparently, but they're really brittle because of the sun damage, I guess, so they need to be replaced. It's got the crash bars, which I'm really grateful for, because look at the size of this cylinder head. Yeah, it looks solid enough. So yeah, it's just going to be a very slow case of trying to restore this thing for next year, I guess. Right, so here's a petrol tank. Now this is where the brake reservoir sits. Yeah, so the brake reservoir sits underneath here, and it's obviously corroded over time. Well, the fluids come out and taken away the paintwork, so I've got a bit of rust there, so I'm going to I need to clean all this section up. All here, all this needs to be cleaned up. This is where it's obviously come down here, just ate right through the paintwork. I'm going to try to get it back to bare metal, make sure there's no holes. It still feels really solid, so I'm not too worried about that. I just want to make sure it's not going to go any further. So yeah, let's get rid of that rust. There we go, got it pretty much back to bare metal now. I've cleaned it all out. Let's give it another clean. Make sure we get all the last bits of rust dust off. So the other side. And there's a little bit down here, but other than that, it's really good. You can see the layers. So the base layer was like a green, it looks like. So it was like a green. It's very thick paint. So my plan here is to hammerite it. Okay, some people might get upset with me hammerwriting it, but this is the underside of the petrol tank, so I'm not really too worried that if this is the only spot of rust that was on, there's a bit of rust on the bike as well. We're gonna have to take care of as well. But overall, so slow progress, but some progress has been made. The first expense, or the first thing I'm going to deal with before we get the tank on. So yeah, the it obviously leaked down and it's rusted. Took the paintwork off here and down here, so I'm going to just clear it up a bit, clear up the rust a bit, come back and give it a few coats of Hammerite. I mean, we're not going to see it, the tank's going to be on there, but yeah, this is where the brake reservoir sits, and it just, well, the seals and everything over time just, what is it, 1978? Yeah. Best to start again, but I'm going to go with the handlebar conversion. So I spoke to BMW Motorbikes to do a kit. We're going to have to change the throttle, so hopefully I can get this, and that just clips the new throttle assembly. I really like that design with the gear. The gear design's kind of cool. So I want to reuse this, and probably reuse the brake lever. And then hopefully it just goes here. The master cylinder will sit about here, and then it will just run a cable down to the front brake, rather than running a cable from here to the master cylinder, then hydraulic from here to there. So this is the hydraulic cable. We need to remove. I'll leave it here for now, the hydraulic cable, but I don't think it's going to use this one. Either way, I'm going to replace this. So I'll leave it here for now, so I know the routing of it. But yeah, all this can be undone and removed, because I think I'm just going to have a cable that goes down to the front. So let's just sand this down a bit and make it a bit more pretty, and maybe get in there a bit and just clean up this as well. It's only just a bit of surface rust, but we've got to try and get rid of it. And this is, I believe this is the sensor that would go in here, or here somewhere, the sensor for the brake switch. So basically the brake switch is not up here, it's down here, and so when you pull the brake, the sensor would go off here to put the brake lights on. And then also these wires here, I believe this is the sensor. So what would happen, you plug this into the reservoir, and then if it gets too low, or there's a, like the brake fluid gets low, a warning light would come up here, somewhere here, but I don't have that extra instrument, so you can see that's where the extra instruments would be. So you get your voltmeter, all the other extra bits would be on here. I might try to find if I can get one of these, but I don't know if I have the connections for it or whatever. So I'll clean that up a bit, looking a lot better. Give that a bit of Hammerite maybe. Okay, so I got the front wheel off. I've been doing lots of bits here and there. So my plan is to replace all this, of course, with a, I don't know, I'd like to keep a dual throttle, but I'll see what's going to happen. Worst case scenario, we end up trying to split this to a single throttle. I don't know how it all works, but some models are single. Anyway, carrying on. I don't know much about these bikes, so, you know, I finally got this off. This front wheel was very stuck on, this caliper was very stuck. I'm not sure how bad, I mean, these pads are good and thick, but we're going to replace them anyway, because the wear pattern is hella uneven. So I've got a partly seized caliper, I'm going to guess. So these are thick boy pads as well. I have to order new brake pads and everything. That's fine. And this caliper moves. I'm trying to undo it. I tried to take it out, but I can't seem to work out how to take it out. I think it's this bolt here. I think it's just this one bolt here, but this bolt doesn't want to seem to move at all. So I'm going to try and get the old extra crack power on it and see if I can get this off. I'll put the axle back in to give it a bit more stability, actually. But yeah, that's... I might replace the caliper. I mean, it's actually a really nice unit. I like how that goes in. That's really cool. It's a single piston unit though, so that's a bit of a... I don't know. I mean, it probably works. Probably just fine. It's a single disc as well, and it's a big heavy lump. So, apply so much force on this to get it undone. I got it out. I thought the whole bike was going to fall over. It did wobble. Really, it was quite hard. Look at the size of the brake bar I had to use. Alright, this needs a... Well, this has probably never ever been undone. Ever. I don't think brake pads are meant to wear like this. So, yeah. I need to get this all out, re-lubricate all this sticker. But that's really interesting how the brake pads go in, though. I've never seen that before. We will be buying some new sets of brake pads. We will indeed. Maybe a new piston. I don't know. We'll have to see how bad and pitted it is when we get it out. Right, so I've cleaned the rust off there, and I've just put a very thin coat of Hammerite on there just to protect it. Yeah, it looks all right. I know it's not the right black or whatever, but at least it's protecting it. And I've done all down here as well. Screwed these all back on, and yeah, now I just need to well, order a lot of parts. I'm not gonna order all the parts today. I think I'll sort my insurance and pay all my bills first, and then work out how much money I got left over. But to do this front bit, the brake and stuff, it's probably going to cost around £400. So I'll see how much this is going to cost. I want to replace all this as well, and all the brake hoses and everything. Hopefully I don't need to replace the caliper. It's just really weird. I'm not sure how to do it properly. So yeah, it's going to be a weird setup, that is. End the video there, but you know what? I got one last bit, and literally just now in the post. This is how long I've had the BMW. I started, and I have now finished the import process for it. This import process, because it's from Oman, I had to import it, okay? So I had to get V5, and to get one you have to register it. Now, it only cost me 55 quid in the end, total, to import, so that's really good. So I wanted to get a data certificate, because you can get a data certificate at 30 quid, which meant that I could have kept all the original documents myself. I've taken copies of the original documents, but it would have been nice to have the original documents for the bike still from Oman, because DVLA probably won't send them back to me. They don't send them back, really. They say, look, once you've sent it to us, that's it. We destroy them or whatever. It's a shame, but whatever. I wanted to get a data certificate, so I was holding off, and I emailed a few clubs, because that's what I had to do. I couldn't go through BMW. They said you go through a club. So I went through a couple of clubs, and I had some emails back and forth, but they never said to me, okay, we can do the date certificate for this much, and that's it. They kind of wanted me to join the BMW club that they were a part of, whether or not it was whoever, but it was, maybe my priority was low because I wasn't a member. I don't know. I don't know, but yeah, they just never seemed to get back to me. They said, yep, we'll start on it. Yep, we'll get back to you on that. Yep, they never did. And I waited about, weeks. I waited, so it was about a month's time messing around trying to get a data certificate. Gave up on that in the end. Sent in all the documents. A couple of weeks later, DVLA sent me an email saying you need to book an inspector. And I was like, well, if it's random selection, how come I've been random selected twice in a row? Because when I imported my CT, anyway, so I spoke to the inspector when he came. So this is just a bit of information if you're ever going to think about importing a vehicle. It's apparently 20% of all vehicles now that are imported into this country need to be inspected. So they want to do all 20%. Unfortunately, they sent me this at the beginning of October, and the only date available that I could do for them, because they were saying, oh, we're in your area on these days, and these days and these days. Well, I can't do any of them days. So I had to wait about a month. So it was about another month. So that was the end of October. It is currently the beginning of November, and I just got the V5 in the post, which is pretty good. Thank you. Finally, it's now imported and done. By the way, another bit of information. If you're going to import a vehicle, I've talked about this in my other video. I'll link to below on how to import. The examiner, the person coming to see it, needs to see like a 99% complete bike. So I had, at the time, I had to make sure the tank was on, and I had to make sure a two-seat bike was shown, because the BMW, as from police spec, is one-seater. So I managed to get one off eBay for about 80 quid, a two-seat, which is really nice actually. So I might even have to use it to go to do some tours on and stuff, because it actually has a rear rack on as well, which is really nice. So that wasn't terrible. That was not a terrible deal. Two-seater motorbike seat needs to be on the bike in case you get a job's worth. You put down a two-seat motorbike on here, we need to see a two-seat motorbike. Yeah, so anyway, that's all done. Sorry for rambling on, but just thought I'd give a bit more information on the bike. Anyway, so that really is it for the video. I hope you enjoy. I hope you're looking forward to this build. It's something a bit different than then a Honda Cub, and sorry for the red herrings, the red herrings on the thing. Anyway, that's it. I've gone on for long enough. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next update.